Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Where Wendy Creates. Today, I thought we might make a log cabin quilt, but I do have this pack of fat quarters too. So today we're making log cabin quilt blocks, and then we are going to mix it and match it with part two with some beautiful blocks that we will have maybe every other block in the quilt. So let's start with the log cabins, and we're going to go ahead and open up our jelly rolls. This one is a high fashion, and this is 2.5-inch strips, 40 pieces. So we're going to go ahead and open this. If you're looking for this fabric nowadays, it did come from Joann Fabrics. You might want to check Michael's. All Michael's stores by the end of 2025 is supposed to be selling fabric. So I'm very excited about that. Most of the dealers that were selling through Joann Fabrics is now selling at Michael's. Oh my goodness, how absolutely yummy scrunchy is this beautiful jelly roll. I love it. And this one is a Kona Cotton Solids Berry Sweet Color Story by Robert Kaufman. Same deal. This did originally come from Joann Fabrics. So again, Michael's may or may not have it. Oftentimes I actually look on Amazon for fabrics, but tricks and hints and recommendations, my friends, do not buy 100% cotton fabric off of Amazon if you do not know the maker. Only use those makers that you're familiar with, because often you can buy pre-cuts. Oh my gosh, how yummy is this? You can buy pre-cuts on Amazon, and they're not quilter's cotton. Even though they say they're cotton, they are not 100% cotton, and I only want to use the same kind of fabric in my quilts, or else they will wash and they will be different, and you do not want to wash your pre-cuts because that is just way too much work. So we are not washing anything that's going into the quilt with the pre-cut, so everything will shrink at the same size. So I just want to show you how yummy these are. Oh my goodness. And we are going to take these blocks one at a time, and we are going to sew them together. So what I'm going to start doing is the center piece. So I'm having right sides to right sides, and we're going to sew these and start making our beautiful log cabin blocks. I am so excited about this. These are such divine pinks, purples, reds in this stack, and this stack, wow, I get a pop of absolute color. And normally these two would not go together, but my friends, I'm putting these two jelly roll strips into the same to make my log cabins. What do you think? Hit that comment button, let me know your thoughts. And I have the iron on the cotton setting, and I'm just going to roll it down and open it as I go. And you want to press between each of your parts, and that way you are making sure that your selvage, your sewing seam is going to go the direction you want it to go. Now we bring our 2.5-inch strip sewn to the other 2.5-inch strip down to the cutting board, and we're going to lay this out, and we're going to cut these in 2.5-inch strips. Start out by lining our lines up and cutting off our selvage, and then we will line it up 2.5 inches, 1, 2.5, and we're just going to keep cutting this the whole way. Again, if you have a sharp rotary blade in your rotary cutter, this process is going to be fun and fast, and you are going to be very, very happy with it. I switched rulers, so I'm just making sure I'm lining it up proper. Shorter ruler usually is easier. And after we make our last strip, we've got a beautiful scrappy piece to add to our scrap quilts. And we're going to take our stack back over to the sewing machine. We have used our red and our flowers to make our first two pieces. So we're going to take these two and put them at the bottom of the stack. So I'm just going to take my reds. Let's have some fun. We're going to just turn the stack upside down. Let's do that. Okay, so our next row is going to be our purple and our white spotted. So very exciting. We have our two pieces, and then we are going to grab our next color and we're going to put them right sides together. My flowers are going to go on the up. So I just want to make sure I do that each and every one. And we're going to chain stitch the row of these till we run out of the color. And when I say run out of the color, I mean finish off with these blocks. Flowers up, lay it down, make sure you're right on the beautiful edge with your block, and sew it down. We're gonna do this on our purple to all of our pieces. Just make sure each time our flowers are on top. And as you can see, as we run over it, the seam is going down. So it's easier that way. We don't have to worry about the seam being pulled up with our stitching. Make sure the red one doesn't torque and pull. You want them to all go through evenly and smooth. So my friends, question for you. Hit that comment button, give me the answer. Do you have your sewing room set up to where you can cut, iron, and sew all in the turn of a chair? Or do you get up and move around while you sew? Question. Hit that comment button. Let me know your thoughts. What do you do? And we will sew a few more of these together. And now I don't have enough of this purple to do the next one. So I'm just going to move this aside. And we're going to start our next one right sides up, flower up. Make sure we're down enough that our selvage is not getting in the stitching area. And we can sew the next one down. So question for you, and since I have a hard time having a conversation with you on the other side of the TV screen, if it's easy for you to comment, let me know. I am very curious. Have you done a log cabin quilt before? And do you normally start with yardage or with pre-cuts? Or is the log cabin quilt your favorite scrappy quilt? Because log cabin quilts have historically been done with scraps, cut into strips, not always the same size strips, and made into scrappy quilts, made into whole quilts. Hit that comment button. I want to know. Oh, and by the way, while you're there, hit that thumbs up, give me a like. And why, oh why, would you give my videos a like? Well, my friends, if you give me a like, that actually tells the YouTube system that this video is interesting. And that way they will show it to another quilter. And if another quilter gives me a thumbs up, they'll show it to another quilter and another quilter. And my friends, this is how that works. So the thumbs up are greatly appreciated. And voila, look at that. We are out of the first 2 blocks. So now we are going to take this over to the cutting board. We're going to trim out all of our blocks and then over to the ironing board and then back over here to put on our white speckly. I'm so excited. All right, and we are at the ironing board and we are pressing open our blocks. And I am just grabbing a hold of it right at the seam. And at the seam, I'm opening it a little bit, putting the hot iron down and pressing it. And my friends, if you are quilting, you should be using 100% quilter's cotton. And if so, you need to be using steam. Steam makes very quick work of your pressing. You will thank me because it is fast. It is a couple of swipes over the fabric and you are done, 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 done. So this is an excellent way to press. And I can press several of these right on top of each other until I need to pick up the stack, move them aside, and start a new one. And now we have a stack of this block. So it is now time for us to build out the block. So I don't want to use the purple. So you can kind of mix and match these the way you want. I think what I'm going to do is go down to the pink. So I'm going to stop here, turn this stack upright, and I'm going to use the pink next. And I'm still good with the white up, but we're going to do this edge first, and then we will do after that every edge with 3. So we're going to build up this log cabin block. And right side up, we are going to turn our block around to where our purple longer piece is on the top. We're going right below our selvage, and we're going to start chain stitching all of these blocks. So on each one, our purple goes to the top and our pink is touching our red. And now we're going to press our blocks open. Didn't let my steam start. There we go. So I'm going to grab a hold of the block by the pink, flip it around and press towards the pink. And you always want to set your blocks up to where it's easiest to just reach over, grab one, and start pressing. Just watch the steam. It does get very hot. Now I'm so excited. We're ready for this stack. And when we look at our blocks, we have one, or we have two, but three on this side. So this is where we put our next piece. Our red is our centerpiece, and we are building out and out from that centerpiece. So let's take our centerpiece. We're gonna flip up the pink and take our polka dots right side up, lay it down near our lap, and then we are going to begin sewing on this. So take your three sides, decide which side goes up, and just stay consistent with that. Yeah, we're going to do it this way. Our seams are going up, so you got to pay a little bit closer attention to those seams now. Just keep chain stitching, adding one strip after the next. Trying to get you the best view is not always easy, and if you look at a piece that you see the pink is longer and we didn't trim it off, so we want to make sure these two bottom pieces are lined up with the piece underneath. So we could run back over to our sewing machine and trim that pink, or pay closer attention to make sure you're still lined up, which seems to get easier and easier the more scrappy quilt you do. And the more of these you do, the longer it's going to get, the more of the strips you're going to need. But luckily, I have 3 strips of this color, so we should be just A-okay. And I'm going to go ahead and sew up the rest, and then I'll meet you over at the cutting board. And we've got our pieces, so we are going to go ahead and trim them up. I'm going to move everything out of your way so you're not claustrophobic at your table. And remember, we go all the way to the pink this time. So make sure your fingers are always back. Okay, bebop off that little piece of pink, doesn't need to be there. And we're just going to trim them all up just like we do, laying them the way they're all lined up to be, which they don't always want to cooperate. But that is the nature of fabric. Fabric is fluid. Have you ever heard that term? Fabric is fluid. Up. All right, we're going to do this for the other 2 strips, and we'll meet at the ironing board. And all of our blocks have been trimmed. We are ready to press, and away we go. How beautiful are these blocks looking? I'm in love. And we see that we have 2 sides, 2 sides, 1 side. So our next piece goes right here. So we're going to flip it over. The white side is always going to go up now. And we're putting our next colored piece on it, which you select which piece. I want to go ahead, since this pack does have black in it, and start using the black. So we're going to come down from the selvage and start sewing on our strips. Sewing on our log cabin. And we just take our block, flip it upright, put white to the top, and we're going over the side that has 3. And we're chain stitching them together. And our blocks are growing. With this black piece that we're putting on, we actually have the first 2 sides on all sides going around our center focal block, which our center focal block is the solid red. And I think I can fit one more. Let me double check. White up, and I sure enough can. Okay, so that block is done. I'm going to pull that over, grab my next strip, right sides up, white to the top, flip it, and put it on the side with the 3 blocks, and that's the side we're sewing. Stitching. Adding a piece. White sides up. White sides up. And tips and tricks, if you're walking away from your machine or you're turning it off for the day, make sure you leave one of these blocks with your machine, so when you start it next, it's easy to pick right up where you left off. And that's what we want. Easy, fun, relaxing, stress-free sewing. And once again, we're going to the 3rd strip, and I do have 3 strips of the same color. If you do not, just pick one. Just grab one that is contrasting and a different color and beautiful. So it's easy. Oh, look at this next piece. Can you see that in the camera? These strips are gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And they are part of the High Fashion Fabrics TT Rainbow Bright New York, New York. So I am so excited. It does say on there made in China. But again, most fabric nowadays is processed in China, even though it is sold or it is designed here in the United States. If you're not aware of that or want to know more information, hit that subscribe button and search my channel. I do have a video that explains how much fabric is actually made here in the United States, which unfortunately, my friends, is very little. Yes, it's sold here, but it is imported. So it is imported, so you want to pay attention to tariffs and whatnots for our industry to thrive. And when I say industry, I'm meaning us craft enthusiasts who love, 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 love what we do. And we get a lot of enjoyment and relief, stress relief, out of doing it. Okay, and last block here. Then we're going to run it over to the cutting board, over to the iron, and back again. I just like to make sure I leave enough thread length or start a little stitch on the end so I don't lose my thread when I start again or make a nest. Tips and tricks. And our blocks are looking gorgeous. And next we have to do is on the solid side. So we have two, we have two, we have three on this side. So this is the side we're going to start adding more to. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to run out with 2 strips. So I'll have to go to a 3rd strip. So what strip do I want to use? I'm going to put this one on top with it so I'm ready. And we're going to go ahead and sew because I will definitely need 3 full strips for this, if not starting on a 4th. So I've got my piece right side up, moving over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to take my panel, flip it around, and start black side up. And what does it matter? It does not, but you need the 3 on one side starting, missing the salvage, and pay attention to your seam direction. Okay. And I like to stack them where I can just flip them right up and go to town. And working on these blocks with a 1, 2, 3, we actually need 4 strips. So I'm using 2 of these and 2 of the first color. So we need 4 strips from now on with our beautiful blocks. So we are definitely growing our project and having lots of fun. So with using 4 strips, make sure you're not leaving large gaps in between your blocks, because it's going to be at the point right now where you don't want to waste pieces between the block because you're going to need the full length for making your log cabin blocks. We're laying our blocks out and we're going to be trimming in between each of our blocks and cutting off our selvage at the end. And pressing our blocks between each and every step. And at this state, at this size, it is taking 4 strips to go over all of the blocks. If you have used the first 2 strips that you've selected as your beginning, you're using 2.5-inch strips. So I am really excited about getting the next 4 rows on, meaning 1 on each side, and then our block is going to be complete. So we need 8 more strips. So if you want, pick out the colors. 8 more strips. No, 4 more sides. So we need, what is that? 12, 4 times 4, 16 more strips. Woo, the math. What do you think, my friends? Little lopsided, but we're having fun. Woohoo! So what is next for our stack? We have 1 side, 1, 2 sides, 1, 2 sides, and we have 1, 2, 3. So this is on the solid side. So we're going to pick our solids to go right here. So we're going to lay our quilt blocks down beside our machine. We're going to take our scissors and hang them up on the hanger we have on the side of our table. If you don't have a hanger on the side of your table for your scissors, hit that subscribe button. I've got a video, or maybe a little short, about some of the hook ideas that I have for the sides of the table, but it's very, very easy. I believe it's a command strip that makes a little metal hook, and it goes on the side, any wall, but I put it on the side of the table. And with the right touch, you can pull it right back off when you're done with it. So it does not hurt the table. It's semi-permanent. So that was a great way that I did my, so we're doing purple up, white down. So we want to do all of them just the same. And there we go, my friends. It's almost 2 strips. And we're done with the halfway part. So we'll see if we can get 4 strips to finish this lot. I don't think we're going to fit a 5th block on this one. We're going to see. This is our 4th. I think I need to back it off just a tiny bit. I'm not sure we can get 4. Let's try. Ha ha! 5. So yes, we can fit 5 of these blocks on a 2.5-inch strip. So I'm excited. Now that is 2.5-inch by width of fabric. Width of fabric is typically 40 to 42 inches. If you get an off-brand, not a true quilter's cotton from one of our big manufacturers, it may be as little as 36 inches. So pay attention to what you have. Make sure you're getting the correct thing that you think you're getting, because 36 inches is a yard, but typically the width is longer than the yard. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish these up and meet you at the cutting table. We look at our block. The side that has 3 is the side that we're going to add on to next. And it's going to be a bright, perky one. Right sides up. Flipping this block over. And sewing them down. When you're quilting, you're chain stitching, if your machine can do it, you want to put your machine in the needle down position. I am working on a Singer heavy duty. A Singer heavy duty sewing machine can be purchased online or in Michael's or in Walmart. I haven't checked Target. But it is a popular brand. It is a workhorse. It is a heavier machine, a heavy-duty machine. So if you're just starting to sew or you need one that's going to be a workhorse, you're going to be doing lots and lots of non-stop back-to-back projects, just know that on this machine, it takes the slightly wider bobbins. The plastic ones are still perfect, but you need the little square here, not the more narrow ones that are roundeder. This is more of a square blunt bobbin that I use on this machine. Also on this machine, you're going to use a larger needle. What does that mean? That means that you want to only use 14 or 16. Do not get a 9 or a 10 size needle. Again, it is a heavy-duty Singer sewing machine. It's a little bit louder and doesn't have all the bells and whistles that some of your more expensive machines have. Our blocks are trimmed and they are looking really, really great. We've got one. Okay, so here is our center star. We have 1, 2, we have 1, 2, we have 1, 2, we have 1, 2. So this is the perfect size block. And if we put this on our measuring tape, we have, putting it over to 34 inches and bringing it back. It is, well, it's over a 10 inch, so it's about 2.5 inches. This is a 10.5 by 10.5 inch block. So our blocks are complete. Let's lay them out and see what they look like. But first, we have to press. And we're also going to count the blocks. And I'll let you know how many Jelly Roll 2.5 inch strips we used. That way, if you're using yardage, it's easy to figure out. Or if you're using Jelly Roll, it lets you know that yes, we can start over and start making some more of these blocks and see if we have enough to do how many more blocks. Pretty excited about these colors. What do you think? Hit that comment button, let me know. Today we're making log cabin blocks out of these yummy jelly rolls. If we put a border around the log cabin blocks that we have made today, we can make a crib or a small throw size just by adding a couple of borders or one border. But if we want to get to a twin, a double, or a queen, we have to increase our current size. Using 15 blocks would be a total of 30 inches by 50 inches, which is close to our crib size. But we want to extend that to make a larger quilt. So how do we do that? All right, my friends, bear with me a minute. If we started out with 2 jelly rolls of 40 strips each, yes, I know some of them come with different amounts, but ours were 40 strips each. We used 27 strips to make 17 log cabin blocks. Each block is 10.5 by 10.5 inches. And if we use all partial pieces of the 2 jelly rolls, we can come up with 51 log cabin blocks. So do we want to stop at the 17 and make a beautiful little throw quilt, or make it into a larger quilt? Here's an idea for you. If we take 7 blocks across, 7 blocks down, that would be 49 log cabin blocks out of our 2 jelly rolls, coming up with a quilt once it's finished of 70 by 70. But the 70 by 70 is not exactly what we're looking for, because we want a larger size quilt, ideally a queen or a king. So if we come back to our thoughts, and how can we make it larger? Well, if we take a row of flying geese, which, hit that subscribe button, see my other video on how to make a flying geese. On the top and the bottom, 5.5 inch row each would be 10 inches. And then I could simply add one border of 7.5 inches, or one row of 5.5 inches on all sides, and then 2.5 inches on all sides, equaling an 84 by 92. And the 84 by 92, my friends, that is the sweet spot. That is my queen size quilt, which will cover the top of a king size bed, or hint, hint, double, double. If we have a double, it will lap over it and be luxurious. So that is that, my friends. I'm so excited. I hope you have enjoyed making the log cabin blocks with me today, and you will hit that comment button and let me know, are you making this project, and when's the last time you made a log cabin? And that's a wrap, my friends. How to make the log cabin block. First, we started out with 2 2.5 inch strips. We sewed them together length with the fabric, and then we went to the cutting board. We trimmed them 2.5 inches each. We added the purple on the side, and then we added the pink on the side, and then after that, we had the 3. And every time you add a block, you're adding on the side where you have 3. And you just keep going around the block. Every space that has 3, you turn into 1. And then you go to the next place that has 3 and turn into 1. So I hope you have enjoyed making these log cabin blocks. Hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up and a like, and a subscribe if you haven't. I want to see you right back here next week. We are playing more with these beautiful colors that we still have to make into a quilt, and we're going to be making different blocks. So I cannot wait to share those with you. We're going to match them right up with this and continue on with the quilt, so you will see this finished. I'm so excited. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day, my friends. Bye.